The first time Captain Aaron Blake laid eyes on the jet, something about it felt wrong. It was a refurbished McDonnell Douglas MD-83, an older workhorse pulled from storage in Arizona and given a fresh coat of paint, a tech upgrade, and a second chance in the skies. But the moment Aaron stepped onto the tarmac and saw the Talon 666 RD, he felt a shiver crawl up his spine. "Is that a joke?" he asked the mechanic prepping the preflight. The man shrugged. The aircraft, freshly christened back into service, was oddly pristine. It gleamed like it had been preserved in ice. The control surfaces moved like silk. Everything looked perfect, but it felt sterile, like it hadn't just been stored. But ... forgotten, just a number. He reached to reset it, but it stopped on its own. Chalk it up to a new electrical install. The FAA assigned it. Paint shop asked if they should cover it. Company said no, too expensive. Aaron forced a laugh, but the unease didn't leave him. Mechanics have been calling it that since the reg number ends in 666. Superstitious nonsense. Flight 2342 Denver was supposed to be routine 2-hour hop, clear weather, light load. The co-pilot, Jenna Park, climbed aboard with coffee and a yawn. First time flying the demon plane. Aaron arched an eyebrow. "Excuse me?" She grinned nervously. Aaron didn't respond. He was too busy staring at the overhead panel. One of the fuel pump switches was flickering. The aircraft dipped violently left before stabilizing. They pushed back at 7:03 a.m. The first sign of trouble came at 14,000 feet. Aaron heard what sounded like whispers through his headset. At first he thought it was crushed nano interference, but Jenna looked up too, puzzled. "Do you hear that?" she asked. He nodded slowly, turning up the volume. The whispers were faint, unintelligible but steady, like someone speaking right behind them in a language neither of them understood. Aaron switched channels. The whispers followed. "Let's write it up after landing," he muttered, masking his discomfort. "See if anyone's messing with it." A moment later, she returned, pale and shaking. "But the weird part is there's frost forming on the walls." His breath came out in pale clouds. Inside, at 35,000 feet, at cruising altitude, things got worse. The autopilot disengaged suddenly. Jenna cursed and grabbed the yoke. "No turbulence," she said. "Nothing on radar. No warning." Then the intercom came alive, with a burst of static and "Flight 234, confirmed souls on board. The devil flies tonight." It was deep, distorted, layered like more than one voice speaking in unison. Aaron stared at the panel, hands trembling. "That wasn't from a TC, Jenna whispered. He shook his head. "Check the cabin, engines stable, but something's overriding the nav." Jenna unbuckled and left. "Cabin's dark. Everyone's asleep," she said. Aaron turned back to the controls. All indicators read normal, but the air had grown cold. Suddenly, the radio crackled again. "He is in the tail." Aaron looked toward the rear of the aircraft through the narrow door behind the galley. It was pitch black beyond. He switched on the cabin lights. Nothing. Descending into Denver, systems began to fail one by one. Transponder, offline, ILS, glitching, cabin lights, flickering. A figure black, impossibly tall, with twisted limbs was crawling from the tail forward. "Emergency checklist," Aaron barked. Jenna nodded, flipping flight controls responsive. Nothing. The alarm continued. Never existed. The boarding logs were blank. Security footage from the gate showed no passengers entering. A scream echoed through the intercom, high-pitched and tortured, like metal shearing in reverse. In fact, tail number N666RD had been officially retired in 1997 after a fatal crash. Denver Tower came through staticky, but readable. Aaron paused. What kind of question was that? 76 passengers, 5 crew, he responded. Silence. Then, "No, Captain. We show... ... The radar showed them as a ghost returner transponder code. No ID, just a shadow in the sky. On final approach, the aircraft began to vibrate violently. Then, from the tail, smoke. Fire alarm zone 5. Rear, cargo hold. Aaron pulled the fire handle and discharged both extinguishers. Then Jenna screamed. In the rearview mirror above the main panel, something moved. Autopilot on. "Take it," Aaron snapped. He unbuckled, grabbed the crash axe from behind the seat, and opened the cockpit door. The cabin was empty. Every seat vacant. Overhead bins untouched. No luggage, no people. Only frost on the windows and the lingering echo of voices. They landed hard in Denver. Emergency crews surrounded the plane, but when they opened the cabin door, they found only Aaron and Janesh shivering, shaken, barely coherent. The passenger manifest. The maintenance log showed the aircraft had not been cleared for flight. The wreck had never been recovered. Only a single piece of the tail was found bearing the number 666RD. They buried the plane in the desert the next day. No records, no press, but in a hangar near Tucson, a ground crewman swears he saw an aircraft arrive with no lights, no crew, just frost on the windows, and a whisper through the radio. The devil flies tonight.